saw this metallic craft nearly 150 feet long moving in over the sea to circle the island. A professional photographer aboard the ship grabbed his camera and took these photographs, which were officially released to the world by Juscelino Kubitschek, then president of Brazil, as authentic UFO pictures. Evidence of UFO activity over water mounts steadily. Jacques Cousteau has reportedly investigated UFO sightings over South America's Lake Titicaca. Thor Heyerdahl saw strange, glowing masses underwater during his famous Kon-Tiki voyage. And there are literally hundreds of reports from marine scientists and ship's crews of mysterious undersea craft. What is the connection between UFOs and water? Are extraterrestrials using the oceans of our world as highly developed bases for successive space expeditions? Or are these craft, as some people believe, piloted by descendants of Atlantean survivors who sought refuge long ago under the sea? What evidence is there to support this speculation? We now have the means to explore our ocean floors, and divers have located vast stretches of what appear to be the paving stones of giants. Stones as huge as the blocks that built the pyramids, crisscrossing the ocean bed in mid-Atlantic. Archaeologists have found the walkways and pillars of an ancient sunken temple off the coast of Bimini in the Bahamas. Are these undersea structures traces of one of the cities of Atlantis? Consider the mysterious triangle-shaped area in the Caribbean Sea that extends from the edge of the Gulf Stream about 150 miles east of Fort Lauderdale, Florida, to 40 degrees west latitude in the mid-Atlantic. Known in olden times as the Sargasso Sea, this area is a graveyard of the unexplained. It's a place where strange things happen to compasses. Strange things happen to time. Down through the centuries, this watery graveyard has claimed Spanish galleons, windjammers, steamships, supertankers, pleasure yachts, and aircraft. Almost all disappeared without trace, as if the tentacles of some mythical monster had reached out and seized them. This area is known today as the Bermuda Triangle, or Devil's Triangle.
On December 5th, 1945, 5 TBM Avenger torpedo bombers under the command of Lieutenant Charles C. Taylor took off from Fort Lauderdale Naval Air Station on a routine navigational mission. Surface winds of 20 knots, skies clear, visibility unlimited. Suddenly, just 15 minutes before the flight was due to land, Fort Lauderdale Tower picked up Lieutenant Taylor's frantic voice. The time, 4 p.m.
Calling the tower. This is an emergency. We seem to be off course. We cannot see land. Repeat, we cannot see land.
What is your position?
We're not sure of our position. We can't be sure just where we are. We seem to be lost.
Assume bearing due west.
Well, we don't know which way is west. Everything is wrong. We can't be sure of any direction. Looks like we're entering white water now. I tell you, we're completely lost.
Then, at 4:25 p.m.,
we're completely lost. And then, silence forever. Immediately, the Navy dispatched a Martin PBM Mariner flying boat, a huge craft with electronic tracking gear, with enough fuel to remain airborne for 24 hours. Aboard, a crew of 13. By 7:04 p.m., the Mariner 2 was missing. In 3 short hours, the Triangle had literally swallowed up 6 planes and 27 trained men. By dawn the following day, the greatest air-sea rescue search ever launched was underway. 242 aircraft and 18 ships scoured the area known as the Devil's Triangle, but not a trace was found. Not an oil slick, not a piece of wreckage, not a life raft. Nothing.
There's no comprehensive list of triangle victims, but the litany of lost ships alone reads like a guest list from Davy Jones's locker. United States ship Nina, United States ship Grampus, the steamship Santa Clara, Star Ariel, the Home Sweet Home, the steamships Hewitt, Corner, Slocum, the Marine Sulphur Queen, the Southern District, the City Belle, the George Boston, the Raifuku Maru, and on and on and on. Ship names that descend from mythology, the steamship Rubicon, the Nereus, the Proteus, the Cyclops, the Constellation, the steamship Witchcraft. Theories about the triangle range from piracy to tunnels into other dimensions, other time zones. Physicists have suggested that the lost ships and planes may have been victims of a magnetic phenomenon that disrupts radio communications, causes flight instruments to malfunction, but there is no conclusive explanation. The ominous question remains. Is this area controlled by some unknown intelligence?
We are currently spending millions of dollars exploring the ocean's bed. Project Moho drilled 600-foot shafts beneath 12,000 feet of water in an attempt to decode the mysteries of the Earth's crust. And along with archaeologists and oceanographers, parapsychologists are joining in the search to locate evidence of the legendary lost continent of Atlantis. Myths from every country tell of gods and mermaids rising up out of the ocean. What if mythology is really condensed history, and the tales of these enchanted sea creatures are in fact eyewitness reports? What if the whale that snatched Jonah from the raging sea was actually an underwater craft? Undersea colonization may be a reality within our lifetime. Oceanographic institutes like Woods Hole and Scripps are collaborating with the government in undersea lab experiments to prove that man can live comfortably in an aquatic environment for extended periods of time.
In order to survive under the sea and in deep space, man is developing new tools, mind tools, telepathy, clairvoyance, psychokinesis. The young Israeli psychic Uri Geller, who's puzzled scientists with his ability to bend metal with his mind and to dematerialize objects, claims that the power to do this is channeled through him from an extraterrestrial intelligence. Well, if Geller is right, we all have a lot of new thinking to do. Meanwhile, the governments of both Russia and America are quietly sponsoring psychic research. Both countries have seriously considered using telepathy, the direct transference of thought from one mind to another, as a means of communicating with submarines and spaceships. Another country where ESP research is being carried out with the utmost objectivity is Czechoslovakia.
Here in a Czech laboratory, we are watching an experiment in telepathy. The subject is being placed in a deep hypnotic trance in order to free the unconscious to receive the message which will be relayed to him. First, the subject is placed in a deep hypnotic trance.
Hlubokým spánkem, spíte nejhlubším spánkem.
In this experiment, it is essential that there be no outside interference, that the subject's mind be clear to receive the mental message that will be flashed to him. Now the experimenter, previously unknown to the sleeping subject, selects at random an envelope which contains the name of a spice. Pepper. He tastes it, and then mentally tries to convey the actual taste of the spice to the hypnotized subject. Now the scientist is saying to him, "What I taste, you also will taste. What is it?" And the reply comes almost immediately, pepper. Psychokinesis, the ability to move physical objects with the force of the mind, is also a subject of intense interest to science and to the military. Here in Leningrad, under strictest test conditions, talented sensitive Nina Kulagina makes the magnetic needle of a compass rotate by sheer mind energy. Russian scientists have found that while demonstrating this ability, the magnetic field surrounding Madame Kulagina's body is only 10 times less powerful than that of the Earth itself. Using this same energy, Madame Kulagina can also make non-magnetic objects like these matchsticks, shielded under glass, creep toward her across the table. In the Philippines, psychic surgeons are reportedly performing major operations on patients without using any surgical instruments and with no form of anesthesia or bleeding control. Yet the surgery appears to be painless and paranormal healing takes place almost immediately. The most publicized of the surgeons, Tony Agpoa, is removing a pituitary tumor from the forehead of a California businessman, Donald Westerbeck, who flew to the Philippines after doctors had warned him of the risks involved in traditional surgery. Here in Westerbeck's own voice is his description of the result of his operation.
When I came to the Philippines, I was very dubious about this entire process, but I felt that it would be a shame to have the operation first and find there was any truth to the Philippine phenomenon. Whatever comes out may or may not be the right kind of tissue. It may well be symbolic, but it is now 2 years since that operation, and the symptoms, which were progressing quite rapidly, have pretty much disappeared. I know that whatever happened in the Philippines had a certain effect on the progress of what was happening within my head.
You're here for psychic healing. We have healers here who actually laying on of the hands. Now, whatever your ailment will be affected. In some cases sooner, in some cases a little bit later. You'll be subject to psychic healing. You'll also be subject to psychic readings that'll help us determine what your particular problem happens to be. The healers have this energy that flows through them, imparting a psychic energy. And this energy will flow to whatever part of the body.
I think that most people that really get into healing professions feel like they have some kind of healing ability. They may not know what it is, but I think they get into healing because they're kind of led into it. I mean, physicians, nurses, even chiropractors and others. Have you been doing any heat treatment or infrared or?
Nothing.
This observer is a licensed physician, an MD, one of the first to inquire into this unusual method of healing to see what it has to offer to his profession.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. No, there's no known physical cause for rheumatoid arthritis, and not really for the other kind, osteoarthritis either.
Our usual procedure is to take psychic readings.
This is a group of gifted sensitives who possess the extraordinary ability to diagnose a patient's illness by a method known as body scanning. They record their estimate of the possible illness by picking up vibrations directly from the sick person or by holding something belonging to her. Sometimes there is an actual transference of pain from the sick person to the doctor.